welcome to Changemakers, a free and short professional development for K-12 music educators. This series is focused on interactive workshops that spotlight student-centered classrooms and culture-responsive teaching. If you need a professional development certificate, there will be a QR code at the end of the presentation, and I'll also share a link to that. Tonight, we have Dr. Drew Coles joining us for his session entitled Identifying Your Product, Building Your Brand. Dr. Coles is a producer, serial entrepreneur, educator, and scholar whose work spans across multiple realms of music industry and higher education. As a faculty member at Teachers College, Columbia University, he leads a cutting-edge hybrid graduate degree program in music and music education. Dr. Coles' workshop will last about 30 minutes, and we'll have some time afterwards for a Q&A about our facilitator's work and some of our programs here at Longy School of Music. And so without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Dr. Coles.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gunther. Hello, folks. I appreciate that that we have an international population in today's presentation. I'm very, very excited about that. And I do want to let you know that I planned a very interactive session today. So I'll be taking bunches of information from you folks about what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're interested in, what it is that you do professionally or what you're interested in doing professionally in the future. And then we'll be looping that information together through the chat and also sort of on your own. You'll be sort of leveraging that to do some of the things I'm going to ask you to do via a couple of website platforms that I have set aside. Okay, great. Thank you for the very warm welcome and introduction, Dr. Gunther. I think whenever we're talking about our product and our brand, as a lot of the time as artists, it can be very difficult to productize ourselves, to put ourselves in a place where we're thinking about the educating that we're doing or the opportunities that we're creating for others as a product, as something that is discrete and can be sellable. But that's the best way to monetize it and then make sure that you have the energy, momentum, the push to keep on doing that thing. So thinking about it as a product also makes it very easy to understand who you're best impacting, and also who needs to know what about your craft, your product, your service, whatever it is that you do that you're doing to enrich the world. So let's do a couple things first. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write this down or type it in. It's probably going to be easier if you type it into like a box on your computer. So the product itself, that's up to you. That's whether you're, let's say, an applied studio instructor or a performer. You get to decide. But what do you do? That's the first thing I want you to write down. What is it that you're doing? And how would you describe this thing? Okay. I want you to put these in sort of boxes. This is like the first big box. All 5 of these things. What are you doing? What are you selling? Who are you selling that to? And who are the key stakeholders? And ultimately, who are you? What do people need to know about you? A lot of times people get hung up on the concept of stakeholders. What I want you to think about is who needs to know what information about you. So for example, if you're looking to get, again, applied lesson students on a particular instrument, who needs to know what it is that you're giving lessons on? Who needs to know what level of education you're working at? Meaning, like, who are you teaching? Whether those are early learners, folks who are gearing up for state level sort of conference performances or adjudications, or if people are auditioning to get into music schools. It's up to you sort of determine who you're actually guiding your product toward. So try to answer these 5 questions on a list on your own. And then we're going to walk through 2 more of these sort of information gathering bits. And they're going to propel us toward actually making some deliverables, some assets. Move that up for just a moment. Circle back as we need to. I'm going to keep moving forward here. Okay. Remember I said there were sort of 3 boxes. The second one of those boxes, I would like for you to write down all of the words, and this will take maybe about, let's say, 3 minutes, but the words that you would use to describe what you do and what you want to be. These can be adjectives like compelling or honest or full of integrity, things like those. Or it can be actual action items, actual verbs like teacher, philosopher, scholar, practitioner, inspirational figure. So take a minute and write those down as well. I'm going to urge you to type these in. Once you get a few words from that last one, why don't you type them into this to the chat box here. I'm also going to do the same. Yeah, I'm writing some in the chat as well. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just to get your juices flowing about leveraging these types of words. Now, the next thing I want you to write down is how other people would describe you. So what words would other people use to describe you? I urge you to write them down and pop them in the chat. Jamie, thank you, Matthew. Wonderful. And really think on this. What would other people say about you? Or what have other people said about you? Think about either clear sort of anecdotes of of words that people have used to describe you, or maybe you might want to think about what you want for people to say about you. And this one, maybe we can limit it to, let's say, 5 to 7 terms, tops. Thank you. I'm going to read some of these out loud here as we're sort of throttling forward through this part of this. Jimmy AC, you said teacher in your first post. Teacher, honest, joyful, integrity, philosopher, researcher, mentor, collaborator, listener, truthful, dependable, happy, thoughtful, reflective. And then I put in researcher, leader, musical point of inspiration, loving mentor and connector of people. Matthew, you said piano teacher and brand ambassador, music brand ambassador for your students or students. And then when we switched lanes to other people, and Samuel, you'll have to tell me out if this one that you just put in is about what you are saying or what people are saying about you. Other people say, Jamie, that you are authentic, happy, dependable. Happy came in twice. I love that. A good listener, educator, and friendly. And Matthew, other people said about you that you're humble, honest, resilient, upright, and have the utmost integrity. And then Samuel, if you can get to the second portion where it's about other people said, you and happily take that and put that into the chat. But you said something about this about the first prompt, researcher, teacher, special music educator, happy mentor. Loving all these terms, every single one of these. And there's immense value in every single one of these sort of proclamations here. Every single one of these things that we can adopt as part of our identities. So what we're going to do is we're going to find ways to work these into business cards. Now, for some of us, business cards have been a long-standing way of exchanging information. For some of us, depending on our age, it's a totally old way of doing that exact thing. Now, my goal in doing this with you, thank you for putting those in, Samuel. People say that you're honest, caring, and a good teacher. And what other people say about you, Matthew, I see not here. Okay, wonderful. Reliable, humble, good teacher and student interest all the way. Love that. The reason why we're going into business cards as a part of this particular effort of identifying our brand and really making sure that our brand is really well sort of understood internally and externally is because we can't fit all of the things we want to say about ourselves on a business card. And we also have to make a bunch of choices about the aesthetics. What is taking priority in the imaging on this business card? Where are the words? What size are the words? How are the words in relation to our name? So assuming that we can all access canva.com, I'm going to put a link in the chat that would lead you to that website if you're not familiar. It's great to be able to use tools like Canva to create sort of aesthetically pleasing renderings, but we can use something as simple as like PowerPoint or even portions of a Word document. I've used screenshots from Word documents before for printed materials in a pinch. You can do this anywhere, but Canva is a really great place that if you can access it from where you are, I'd click on it and just start rooting around. The first thing I would do is on the sort of landing page, it's going to ask you what you'd like to do. And what I would suggest that you say that you want to do is make a business card. Pick something that's like remotely close to what you want to do aesthetically. And then what I want you to do is I want for you to try to implement the information from the exercise we just did about what it is that people say about you and also what it is that you do. Would anyone like to be a volunteer for me to do it on your behalf? I'm happy to do it on your behalf. Matthew or Samuel, I'm happy to take one of you. I'm also happy to take you to Dr. Gunther.
Okay,
You'll
I
do
wouldn't
it?
mind.
Okay.
Yeah, you could
All
volunteer.
Great. That
Thank
sounds
you.
good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this on the screen as well. Then I'm going to make this a little bit larger. And we'll be living sort of in my Canva. So, oh, nope, sorry, that's Canvas. Haven't seen it all the time. All right, and we're going to make a business card. Yeah, search for business card. And what's speaking to you, Matthew? Is any one of these speaking to you? Or I could say music business card. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be specific. We'll just pick one quickly.
Okay, I will go for that. I'll go for that.
Which one?
The Marina Anderson.
This one here?
Anderson. Yeah.
Great. Let's go for it, shall we? All right. So this has two sides. Again, a very limited amount of information. We have to fit in the information about you. For those of you who are following along, it'd be great if you could do a version of this on your own and maybe lend the ear as we're working together. Or if you just want to focus on what we're doing together, it's also great as well. So I'll put in one, I'll just keep one phone number here. It's all good. What we need to do here is put your name. Matthew, how do you say your last name?
AGBA. I'm going to type it.
How do you pronounce it?
Agba.
Agba. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. We don't necessarily have a logo, but let's try to figure out maybe what would go there. I'm just going to say that you have a website. Maybe we want to make one. Who knows? And then here as well. This doesn't really matter, but what's here actually does matter. So what do we want to be here from the words that you said? Let me type in, let me go back to the chat because we need to see what are the things that we want to make sure appear here. something leading us to feeling the honesty, the resilience, the brand ambassador for your students, the service, the servant leadership in the realm of music education. I can start with piano teacher. What are you thinking should be here, Matthew?
I think what should be there should be my services. A piano teacher
Okay. What else?
and a music brand ambassador. It can more or less like a mentor.
Oh, I love that. Okay, music.
A mentor.
Oh my goodness. Please pardon my spelling. It's not a strength of mine.
Is allowed.
All right. I might have to I'm gonna move your name up a bit. And what was the last thing you said? Mentor, right? You can stay unmuted, Matthew, since this is really focusing on you. So you can just stay unmuted. Did you say the word mentor?
Yeah, a music mentor.
Music mentor. Love that. Okay, great. Music mentor. Okay, this. Oh, I don't know what number that was. Let's just say it was 0. And I'm just gonna move this down so this is aesthetically where we need it to be. And then move this down as well. Was there anything else that you wanted to put in? Is there anything else that you wanted people to know? Maybe let's choose something while you're doing that. I'm going to try to do something that's somewhat musical or somewhat sort of piano oriented on the elements over here. Oh, music. What else do we want?
Well, okay. I think this okay.
It's
this
okay.
Quite fine. Yeah.
Other folks in the room, do we think there's anything else that we're reading into the comments that Matthew put into the chat here that we could maybe have some more information on here? Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can get this. What's on here? Let me think. Let me just take away those. What do you feel? How you feel about that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. What else do we want? And if we don't want anything on that side, that's totally okay. What I'm going to move on to on the back is a tagline of sorts. If you folks aren't familiar with taglines, they'll typically tell your audience a bit about you through sort of a narratively written sentence. Like if I was using the front matter here as sort of inspiration, I might say something to the effect of the music mentor that'll meet all your needs, or a piano teacher for tomorrow's students. Or I might say, yeah, the music brand ambassador that you can trust. So let me ask you even further. Oh, you like that one? I get some positive affirmation from the folks in the room about that one. I just want to ask you, Matthew, who are you teaching? What age group? What kind of student? What genre?
Okay, I actually teach student ranging from age 4 upwards. I teach as well as adults as well too. So from age 4 to the adult age.
Let's say what's the oldest person you've ever taught?
Okay, the oldest person I ever taught is about let's say 40, 50 years. 50 years.
Let's just call the top end of this 65, and we'll sort of live with that.
Okay.
So we'll say
All
age is 4 to 65.
Yeah.
You can put in a plus there if we want to. Like this a long dash. Oop, that does not do what I thought it was going to do. I'm realizing that's okay.
Okay.
And genres.
Okay. Okay. I teach the classical music.
Classical piano.
Piano, yes, music, and contemporary as well too, and jazz.
Classical,
contemporary, and jazz.
Let's do slashes like this. Well, maybe not slashes. Who knows? Maybe these things. We get classical, contemporary,
and jazz.
The doctor was not in spelling and jazz.
Yeah.
So let's put this on the second line. Let's make this wider. Okay, so you can fit a couple words in there. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Maybe piano should be on its own line if you want to sort of categorically make a difference, and then move everything up. Okay. And then we, again, want your name on the back here. So I'm just going to take your name from the front and put it right in the back. Okay. Say, what was the tagline that we said? The music brand ambassador to meet all your needs.
You can trust.
You can trust.
You can trust.
Music.
Thank you, Jimmy. You can trust.
Door. You can trust. Okay. I don't know if that's supposed to be capitalized, but here we are. Okay. And this can be together, but moves down just a little bit. Okay, now that's looking great. So we have content information, and of course, this is big content information here, but still gives us enough of what we need. Oh, sorry, I need to copy this over as well. So I should be able to do like this, and then do like that. So we have contact information, but we're also telling the people a little bit about ourselves. We're telling people what they can expect from you. They can expect a trustworthy person who's full of integrity. They can expect someone who's going to guide them through. Ooh, you didn't put piano on that side, but we did put piano on this side. They can expect someone who's going to follow them through different genres, and then they can also expect someone who will grow with them and should be able to adapt to their changing needs over time. This is not just a person who is going to teach them for a year and then you're going to sort of grow out of the relationship. This is something that can grow into a long-lasting, however you might describe it, friendship, mentorship, music making, collaborative endeavor. And there's a bunch more space here if we wanted to put in more, but this looks pretty good. This looks pretty sleek and clean and right to the point of what it is that you are I think, trying to do. Now, the next question would be here. I know we have to sort of like wrap up toward and move toward sort of a close here. But the next question that I would have for a product like this, or the services that are sort of indicated by what's here, is how much do you want to charge for what it is that you're doing? And are there different ways, if charging more as a part of your interests, what you might be able to leverage from maybe past education or workshops attended or relationships that might take your sort of pay grade to the next level. Next level of considerations here. Great though. I like this. I'll come back and take some screenshots of this later. Let's go back here. Okay, great. We did this. We need to share out. Okay, there were a couple other things I wanted to do that I wanted to try and attempt to do. And that it would have sort of bought us some time if we had done things separately. But this is sort of leveraging AI, artificial intelligence, to write messages, to share our materials with other people. So there's three sort of ways of doing that here, that we could have taken the words from inside of the chat, the words we wrote about ourselves, the words that we know with other people, and put them into ChatGPT with a prompt that can pump something out for us as well. That's reasonably indicative of how we want people to carry our name forward. So I'm very, very quickly going to do that again for you, Matthew. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I even have a ChatGPT over here, but let's just see. ChatGPT. Let's see. Great. Let's try it. Okay. I'm going to say, please write a message. When I said write down stakeholders, did you write down anyone, Matthew?
Not really. No.
So let's say
stakeholders.
Let's say a stakeholder for you would certainly be the students themselves. They would certainly
okay.
The parents.
The parents, yes, exactly. Parents.
Maybe some of the other teachers who are around could refer students to you if you have a particular specialty. So let's assume that there's a teacher who has a particular style of expertise that is finite and somewhat narrow, and they need you to take on the students that have maybe a broader range of interests. Okay. So
Yeah.
what I'm going to do actually is I created a sort of a sandbox place. I like to do this with leveraging Google. So let me go to that sandbox place. I'll go back here and Longy sandbox. Make it here. Okay. And I like to just speak these things in. I'm going to tell the ChatGPT what to write for me. I'm going to say, please write up a message to a colleague teacher who could possibly refer piano students to me. Period. Indicate that I would be happy to accept them. And please mention the following qualities in your message. Great. Then I'm going to take the things that you wrote and I'm just going to paste them in. And we're going to see what happens. I'm going to do this colon. Great. Humble, honest, resilient, with integrity. I'm going to paste them in. Ooh. Just like that. And then the last one. Okay. I'm going to put this in and just see what happens, okay? Great. And then what comes from this, I'm going to put this back in here. I'm going to put this back in this document. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see it. I'll make the text a little larger. And I'll just sign it with your signature. Hope you're doing well. Just reach out. I'm currently accepting new piano students that would love to work with your students. You might refer my way. Piano teacher, my mission talks about your mission, talks about what you want to do. Some of this might be true, some of it might not. Remember that when working with an AI language learning model, that it's always a conversation. So if you need to ask you something different or ask it to play up another strength of yours, you totally could. If you realize through the conversation with this AI language learning model that you want to accentuate a particular quality that you have or something that you know is a key need in your area, you could easily do that, whether it's a genre or a type of ability to work with a certain student of a certain level of ability or a disability. You can easily go back into ChatGPT and say, mention this thing in your next response to me, and it will pump out something, because we often have a lot of sort of apprehension around professing what we're really good at, and the language learning models can help us get around that. Just a couple more things. Okay, we shared out. I just want to sort of remind you that everything that we do in parting here is productizable. Everything that we do can be, again, sort of discreetly thought of as something that can be sold. The who it's sold to and what quantity it's sold in, that's for us to sort of like tease out in our own professional development. But if we think about productizing ourselves and the clarity that it takes to identify the brand and identify the stakeholders and identify the key gatekeepers, then we can go very, very far. The gatekeepers and stakeholders are the individuals who would fling a door open for you if they could, or they would aid you to the next level of your career, or they would quickly refer you to the people who you're seeking if they had the chance to. And missing that in service of just focusing on the product itself and making sure it's good could mean that your product doesn't see any eyes. It could mean that you don't get the students that could benefit from your care, and ultimately bring you in revenue as well. So it's really important to be able to identify who those people are and then speak to their needs. I also just wanted to give you folks this link here. So I have a link that I'll put into the chat, and this is sort of another version of this. This is instead of a business card, what you could click on there is a link that'll take you to a service to generate an email footer, sort of like this. You can put in a picture, you can put in socials, you can put in any information. And I admittedly have taken one of these and gone absolutely haywire with it. So my email footer now is really, really long. But this started as a formatted way to get my picture into an email. In fact, I'll just show you. I'll just show you what my email footer looks like. Right. It started off, you see the line that's in the example? The line that's in the example, or there's no line in this example, but there are some with lines. And there are a bunch of oops or templates there as well in once you click on that site. I would certainly recommend doing that because it can be another way of quickly, no matter what email you send, people understanding what it is that you do, what it is that you want them to know about your services, what it is that you want them to know about your sort of service in the field, like if you serve on committees or if you serve on like if you volunteer at local institutions, you can figure out ways of getting that in a similar way to the things that you've got onto your business card. Here are just a couple of citations of some papers that I've worked on that focus on these points. And that's my time. Thanks to all of you. Special thank you to you, Matthew, for bravely being our guinea pig for our
Thank you so much.
Our cards here.
Really, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, let's an actual round of applause for both Matthew and Drew, Dr. Coles. And Sam, also you for participating in the chat. Thank you so much. Just a couple of things to share kind of at the end here. I'm gonna and then we'll have a little bit of time for questions for Dr. Coles if you have any. If you want to get in touch with anybody at Longy, these are the folks in the teacher education department. Aaron Zaffini is our director of teacher education. I'm the assistant director. Michael Gutierrez does all of our admin and is the wizard behind the screen that makes it all run. And then there's Dr. Cole's information as well, if you want to be in touch with him.